Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Smith here. So today we're gonna go on a ride to Marysville, Texas. We're in Gainesville, so I think we're gonna do a loop. It should be around 45, 47 miles, maybe a little over 50 miles, depending on what Y in the road we take. But Marysville's a neat little town. It's a ghost town, but it's one of the first settlements that existed here in Cook County. And the man who pretty much was responsible for the colonization of this county, this area. He's buried up here. He'd be a real controversial right now, but back then he was the first guy here, and he did kill off the Indians, and he was a surveyor, and he was the head juror for the Great Hanging, and he plotted off sections of land and tried to make it a desirable place for settlers to move to, which they did. He kind of was the first, I consider him the first white man in Cook County. I mean, because he may not have been the first white man to step foot in Cook County, but he brought the settlers. He was the surveyor. He plotted the land, sectioned it off for colonization. We may go look at his grave. You know, I don't know exactly where it is, but we can go look for it when we get to Marysville. So this is how we get to the cemetery. We turn left right here, and this will get us to the Marysville Cemetery. Now this building right here, it appears to be a Masonic lodge right now, but what it was a one-room schoolhouse. That's what it used to be back when Marysville was populated with a lot of people. It was their school building. So this road goes a little way downhill, and we're gonna check out this cemetery. Hopefully not get a flat tire, because I don't want to get off my bike and walk around this cemetery, just because my cycling leg isn't really good for that. So if anything, we'll ride our bike through it on the grass. Hope to not get a sticker in our tires. All right, this is the Marysville Cemetery, and let's see if I can open this gate without getting off my bicycle. Yep, that worked. All right, so what I'm gonna do is just show y'all the cemetery, and I'm gonna look for the grave of that settler, the guy who Montague County is named after, Daniel Montague. I'm gonna look for his grave. Looks like we got a pretty darn new grave right here. But as I said, it's an old cemetery. A lot of settlers buried here. People from way back in the day. And I'll show you, this is a bigger cemetery than it initially looks like. We just don't want to get any stickers in our tires. But I've made the decision to come in here, so we are taking that risk. But yeah, this is the Marysville Cemetery, and I saw a video on YouTube of this Daniel Montague's grave, and I think I can find it. I think I can find it, y'all. And this may be it right here. I think so, because the fence is what I recognize about it. Sure enough. Okay, So this is the grave of Daniel Montague. He died, it says he died in 1876. So he was it says 78 years old. And that's his wife right there. She was born in 1818, wife of Daniel Montague. It doesn't say when she died. It just says that her name was Jane, wife of Daniel Montague. So Daniel Montague was the first white man in Cook County. He was the head juror for the great hanging that happened in Gainesville. And so after the great hanging, you know, the Civil War was lost, and he was upset about that. You know, he was a Southern boy, you know, Southerner, and he went to Mexico. But then he came back, I believe he came back from Mexico in 1876, lived here with his wife, and ended up dying. I think she was his third or fourth wife. Seemed like most of his children didn't make it to adulthood. They died, you know, because back then there's no antibiotics, and he was a surveyor. And so what he did was he plotted off land, sectioned it off for settlers to come and colonize here in this area. And he got with those settlers, and they rode up and down the Red River and shot up Indians. You know, they felt like that's what they had to do to claim this land, is to shoot the Indians. So there's a grove named after him, Montague Grove. It's in the golf course in Sherman, where he went in and shot about 16 or 17 Native Americans in a cove. And the legend is that to this day, Indian paintbrushes grow where all that blood was spilled. So, but Daniel Montague left Cook County before my ancestors came here. My ancestors, William Owen Davis, was the first one to come to Gainesville in 1870. So Daniel Montague was still alive, but he had gone to Mexico. And my great uncle, William Owen Davis, first ancestor here in Cook County who went to Gainesville, he was the first lawyer, and he actually incorporated Gainesville as a city. It was just a settlement before then. And so he was county judge, mayor, first mayor of Gainesville. But I bet they knew each other. Anyway, that's a little bit of history I wanted to show y'all. But this is the Marysville Cemetery, and I wanted to find this grave, and I've been here to this cemetery, but I've never found that grave site before. And I got on YouTube and I found a video somebody who did find this grave site, and I recognized that metalwork right there. So that's how I was able to find it this time. All right, y'all, we're gonna go back and loop on through Marysville and get on out of here, go back to Gainesville. I may check my tires right once we get back on the road and see if I get any big stickers in them. But there's a lot to know about Daniel Montague. I don't even know, but if you get online and start studying, you'll find out he did a lot. And he accumulated a lot of land. And this Cook County, you know, and Grayson County and Montague County, they weren't even divided into counties when he got here. Like, he was just, it was really the wild west when he got here. And he came to Texas to fight he heard about the Battle of the Alamo, and he came to fight in the Battle of San Jacinto, but it just had happened when he arrived. And so he's from that time period. You know, he probably knew Davy Crockett. Well, he didn't know, I don't know, maybe he did know Daniel Boone and Davy Crockett, but he'd had to have met them before the Alamo. Anyway, the Battle of the Alamo inspired him to come to Texas as a soldier. So that's how old that dude is. This was totally different place, totally different time period. Judging him based on standards of today isn't fair. You know, it's just, that guy was a brave man who took a lot of risks, and I think he deserves to be remembered for everything he did, and not just painted as some kind of villain, but just as a settler and a brave pioneer. That's what he was in my mind. And I understand he did things that are controversial, but everybody did back then. He didn't make it right, but we all kind of live in the environment we're raised and born in, and that's what he did. In his environment, he was a brave settler. And this was a risky place to be. It was a risky place to be a surveyor. I'll put it this way, the Indians, the Native Americans, the guy had, so Daniel Montague, he had red hair. The Indians were all over this place. They put a bounty on his head, like his scalp. His red hair was worth a lot to the Native Americans. And so if he didn't kill them, they were gonna kill him. He knew the Indians coveted his red scalp. That's what it was like here, just trying to not get scalped. So he needed to bring other people in here to survive, you know. He couldn't survive by himself, but he was the first, or one of the very first people here, and the one tasked with surveying and sectioning off land for settlers. Which of course he sectioned off a lot of land for himself, but I guess it was there for the taking in his eyes. I don't know, you know, I just know what little research I've done on the internet. I'm not like a historian, so y'all want to know more, y'all look it up. Anyway, I showed you his grave, and now we're going in further into Marysville. I'm glad I found the grave of Daniel Montague, because I got another child abduction Amber Alert. It's the same one. Yeah, but I'm glad we found that grave, because I mean, he died in 1876, so I mean, like, he probably never even heard of an automobile, like the concept. They got around on horses. We came out here all the way from Gainesville on a bicycle, but even this bicycle is a way better mode of transportation than riding a horse. And keep in mind, you know, like, he didn't have gravel roads like this. He was just riding, like, there were no fences. He's just riding across the open prairies, trying not to get shot up with arrows by Indians, you know. So I mean, totally different time period, perspective I can't even wrap my brain around. But you know, we saw someone, you know, he lived to be 78 years old. He died in 1876, so he was born in 1798. Like, I mean, his whole life was a time period that we can't relate to. True pioneer. Dude was a true pioneer. Guy with red hair in Indian territory. On the edge of Indian territory. Yeah, Oklahoma being Indian territory, but I don't even know back that far. I don't know when Oklahoma was established as Indian territory. Have to Google that. Hostile territory, that's for sure. All around here.